Data protection and privacy teams are under more pressure than ever with new laws, AI oversight, data breaches, and the constant expectation to do more with fewer resources.
That's why TrustArc built a modern privacy and data protection management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. It unifies your tools, automates the work that slows you down, and surfaces what matters most right when you need it.
From guided quick actions to our intelligent assistant, Ask Arc, you get credible, contextual answers backed by expert research, not generic AI guesses.
Finally, privacy that works the way privacy pros work.
Learn how TrustArc helps teams move faster with confidence at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.
You're listening to the award-winning Serious Privacy podcast sponsored by TrustArc. Please welcome your hosts, Paul Breitbart, Ralph O'Brien, and Dr. Kay Royal.
The start of a new year, but Serious Privacy is very much the same. After our annual break at the start of 2026, we are back with Season 7 of the podcast, and of course we do so on International Data Protection Day. For the coming weeks, we have some fun guests lined up, but today you will hear from your 3 favorite podcast hosts in the privacy space, with topics ranging from e-commerce to age checks. My name is Paul Breitbart.
My name is Ralph O'Brien.
And I'm Kay Royal, and welcome to Serious Privacy. So, I think this is going to be a fun question.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this is going to be a fun year.
It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be. I mean, the unexpected question is, what do you want for this year? But that's not really the unexpected question. So I'll do because that's an expected one, right? I'll do a short one, and then we can jump into what we look for the new year, and then also some of the big news that has happened. So, do penguins have knees? Yes or no?
Give them all the questions. There is a very random one.
Well, you can really consider that an unexpected question. I have never given that any thought.
And your answer would be?
In cartoons, they probably do. In real life, probably not.
Ralph is Googling it, I know, or co-piloting it. He's. I could see by the look on his face.
I want the scientific answer.
I mean, I guess similar to ducks. Also for ducks, I don't believe that they would have knees. And it's a bird. I mean, how many birds do have knees?
Flamingos? Storks?
Well,
They have knees?
according to Penguins International, penguins have knees tucked up inside their body. There you go.
That's where I was going. They have knees, but they're up higher. You can't see them.
Penguins International is something like Privacy International.
Yeah, Penguins International's got a load of X-rays showing their knees, and they're high up inside their body. So I'm going to say, yes, penguins do scientifically have knees.
So what's the added
y'all can
value of
expect-
having a knee high up inside your body? Does it also tell you that?
And our listeners can expect this level of randomness all year long. So if you're only
my.
tuning in for the unexpected question, just know I am using new websites for icebreaker questions. I am going to the second page of Google and looking for these random weird ones. Trust me, there are some good ones in there. I had to pick between a row of 5. It was. They have a lot more, but there were 5 in a row that I'm like, whoa, we like
I mean,
that.
those unexpected questions are the greatest unexpected questions.
The greatest unexpected questions ever. That's what you can expect for 2026, right?
I think this year we should make unexpected questions great again.
Right? Way weird. Way weird. You can't see it coming. It is from outer space. So with that, the expected question then is, let's give our listeners kind of a preview into what we're planning for the rest of the year, or what they might be able to expect. I mean, we got stickers. We'll have stickers. I'm hoping that I can load some Serious Privacy merchandise into a store that y'all can buy from. So I think I can get it on Amazon. Somebody with Shopify experience might be able to tell me all this, but then we can send something to our guests. This is not a promise. This is Kay is thinking about this, but she has ADD. Would it ever happen? So I'm thinking about that, but then y'all can also order something if you like. So stay tuned. I might get that done. I might not.
And I am working on Serious Privacy, the board game. This might be a pipe dream again, but it's extremely far down the road to being developed at the moment. So I'm looking at manufacturing prototypes. So if you do happen to see me at a conference and you do have a spare hour, I might be playtesting.
And following on from Ralph, I was looking at doing an Uno type game, but we'll save that for 2027. Paul, what you got?
I'm just working on making the podcast even better.
Is that even possible?
Of course it is. We can have more structure. We can have more structure to our release. More listeners. Yeah, structure. I know
More
that's the word you
listeners I
don't
like.
I mean, more listeners, and that will, if we have more structure and a regular release day and time that people know when to expect us, apparently that helps for podcast engines to push us. Better guests, more guests.
We can't have better guests. We've had phenomenal guests on here, so we're not going to insult our past guests. There are not better guests.
I mean, I would say that if we would get Kamala, you would consider that to be a better guest than anyone we've ever had.
I was going to say, what we might commit to is trying to get more guests on here that appeal to a broader audience and someone whose name you might recognize. If I was able to get Kamala on here, I would consider that a better guest.
Okay.
And some people might hate her because she really didn't get a whole lot of privacy done while she was in office, but we passed a heck of a lot more privacy laws while they were in office than any other time. I don't think there was a single state omnibus privacy law passed in 2025. So
there was not.
This is true. And, of course, now we're the award-winning Serious Privacy podcast. I mean, the only way is down. No, the only way further up as we go into another year with, in an uncertain world, but with some interesting topics and guests. I'm not going to say too much about them. Let's put it that way.
Definitely. So that's in any case what we will be working on. I guess on a more personal note, helping to prepare the Dubai Commissioners Conference at the end of the year. Very exciting first meeting of the program committee today. Obviously, nothing that I can say, but it will be fun. So mark your calendars from December 7th, closed session first, open session after, in Dubai.
And the website is live. So, if you are interested, we'll, of course, post the link in the comments as well.
Yes, absolutely. And there will be more detail coming to the website very soon.
We are bringing up the maturity level of the podcast. God, does that mean I can't be me?
You can.
I'll still be me. So we have that.
So now that we've looked at what's in the year to come, I guess before we go any further, we should look at the significant developments that have happened while we've been off air.
Yes, quite a few, right? Some major things that came through. So who's going to start with some of those? Paul, EDPB?
Yeah, we have guidelines from the European Data Protection Board that were published just before the Christmas break regarding web shops and e-commerce website. And one of the recommendations that the EDPB makes is actually quite significant, saying that users should be able to use a guest checkout. So they cannot be forced to create a user account to purchase something in a web shop only to be able to complete the transaction. I think many companies, many web shops would say, well, we have a legitimate interest to ask users to do that, also to do some buyer verification, making sure that the buyer is who they claim they are, maybe making sure that certain restricted content can only be purchased by people who are of age. But even then, the EDPB considers that creating a mandatory account in most situations is not required. Where there are exceptions, it could be when there is a subscription service with the intention of the consumer to use a service for a longer duration, or also if there is a special members environment where it's also clear what that is going to be used for. So a guest option for checkout in a web shop is the privacy-friendly best practice. And good to mention, this is a consultation. So consumers, but certainly also web shop owners, would be able to respond to the consultation until February 12th of 2026.
That's certainly something that's worth taking a look at.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of interesting bits of news, actually, one that popped up on December 30th. So, very much, at the turn of the year. And that is a follow-up to our much talked about Gaza and Israel episode last year. You'll remember us talking about that the Netherlands regulator was certainly looking at the rules Israel were bringing to bear about the amount of data that was being asked for for aid agencies. Actually, on the 30th of December, it was reported that Israel is actually barring 37 aid groups from Gaza across 10 countries because they haven't supplied enough information about the social media activities of all of their individuals who are going to be working in the area delivering aid. We've kind of already talked about the pros and cons of this ad nauseum, but it's certainly a further development of that particular.
Yeah, and I think on our side, we've had some pretty interesting things happen here in the U.S. I mean, the Department of Justice spinning up a task force for AI is high, but we've actually had some others with our ICE activity, the immigration control. Now they're starting to look at how do we use surveillance data from cities that have cameras up or private people being able to share the Ring camera, which is another one as well. But how does government use or law enforcement use surveillance data that they have? But I think one of the bigger stories that we have is the non-consensual pornography and the AI-created sexual images that countries are starting to take action on, saying you have to prove that you're going to commit to safety fixes. So Philippines restored the access to Grok, commits to safety features, but other countries are now turning them off. Brazil gave 30 days to tackle fake sexualized content from Grok. And then also, not just that, but online gaming. They're saying that, the online are allowing this in gaming. So I know gaming and gambling is a big problem worldwide, but so is fake sexualized images. And I can offer a little bit on that, but then also non-consensual pornography, which has long been something big on my radar. And I believe the U.S. is entertaining a federal non-consensual pornography law. I think that's still kind of there, but it's crazy how we do this. And we, of course, had an episode, or I presented somewhere, on the fact that would sexualized images, fake sexualized images of children, still be illegal if someone had them? They're not real people. And my response to that is that when we do bring charges against someone for sexual content of minors, we don't look at the images and then we do try to find out who the minor is, but in many cases you can't. So how would we prove that this was not a real person? And they don't go to that. Might be something that law enforcement has to start doing now, determining, but that's my take on it. I think it should be illegal.
Well, this exploded indeed in the past couple of weeks, mainly because Grok does not have sufficient, or did not have sufficient safety features built in to avoid the creation of these kind of images that, for example, Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT do have. They have safeguards and guardrails in place that will also tell you, hey, you are not allowed to create these kind of images. But there are alternative large language models available that would do that. Grok, the most notable in recent weeks. Also in the European jurisdictions, we see that there is a lot of outcry against this. The European Commission has once again announced an investigation into Grok and X and XAI, the companies combined, for this kind of content and breaches of the Digital Service and Digital Markets Acts.
Yeah, and if you look at the list of countries investigating them, it'd probably be easier to say which countries are not.
Yeah. The one thing that surprises me is that people would still be using X and would still be using an AI built out of X.
We should probably do a whole show on this one.
Well, I mean, the platform really has become some sort of fascist, pornographic platform where any sensible person, in my view, should not be seen, and it should certainly not be used as the main communications channel, what a lot of government authorities still use it for.
We actually had that question here in Parliament where somebody said, look, will the government be coming off X? Or will government departments be coming off X? It was asked by an MP in Parliament, and the answer was, well, the research shows a lot of people rely on this for their news, which again is for a start.
Yeah.
But, the government are using whatever social media platform they can to reach the highest number of people. But, at what point does a government department suddenly go, do you know what? No way. This is too dangerous for us. It's interesting because technology is morally neutral. It's kind of what you do with it that counts.
And we all know that.
Well, and how you build it.
Yeah. You need to build in the right guardrails. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we know technology is neutral. They talk about the same thing when it comes to lots of other things. It's neutral. Technology has nothing. It's how people use it. Well, it's not just how people use it. It's how people build it to operate.
Yeah.
You have to build it in a way that maintains compliance or at least doesn't force non-compliance.
Exactly. Yeah. When I meant that, I wasn't saying that you shouldn't bring in guardrails. I was just saying that, the axe doesn't care whether you're swinging it at a tree to build a house or somebody's head, right?
Yeah.
It's just an axe. And actually with AI, we've got a tendency to anthropomorphize it, to actually say it hallucinates or it considers or it thinks. And I think people actually, we could actually do with removing some of that technology, some of those terminology. And actually, remember that it's just a tool, right?
It's just a tool.
At the same time, I'm also scared by other use cases that have been recently introduced in the world of AI, and that's the use of algorithms and large language models for age verification.
Yeah.
And we know that has been happening for a long time. There are online age verification tools where you need to take a selfie, and that is compared to another picture that's taken, or a live camera screening that's compared to your ID card or something like that. And if you are an adult and understand what it is that you are consenting to and how this may be used, that's one thing.
Yeah.
For example, if you want to buy alcohol in a web shop. However, now we also see that they are going to start using this technology for minors and even for very young children to see whether they are allowed or not to stay on social media.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, OpenAI presented a new web page that say, well, we are going to introduce age prediction. And ChatGPT will use a prediction model to help estimate whether an account likely belongs to somebody under 18. That looks at behavioral and account level signals. So how long has it existed, times that people are active, the user stated age, but also what they are doing. So it is also monitoring the content and the usage of the account. TikTok has said that they will tighten age checks in Europe because regulators are putting on more pressure that under 13s are not allowed to create a TikTok account. And we all know that they do in large volumes. So let's use AI to scrutinize how this can be done.
just in additional news from the UK is considering taking the Australian approach at the moment.
Yeah.
We are consulting on an under 16 ban on social media.
In Denmark, on under 15, Australia has by now removed almost 5 million social media accounts because of the under 16 ban that came into force.
You know that TikTok had a job open for a regulatory attorney or something. I think it paid up to $600,000. I mean, hey, TikTok, I could be persuaded to go to the dark side.
Grindr, or their head of privacy up the other day, I saw, which is a really interesting and loaded job. I would.
Well, and here's the thing: they should focus on getting someone that has a good reputation. And is absolutely solid, because you don't want someone, I'm not going to say you don't want someone unknown, but you don't want someone inexperienced making these kinds of calls.
No,
agreed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'll just focus with 2 or 3 quick news items. The EDPS versus SRB, the case on pseudonymized data, which kind of creates, I saw the phrase Schrodinger's data the other day, which I thought was good, because which I thought was brilliant.
I think I saw that.
That would also be Schrodinger's application of the GDPR, because it applies and therefore it doesn't.
Is compliance there or not?
Yeah, because is something simultaneously personal data and not personal data, depending who you are and how you're looking at it, which I thought was a really interesting sort of judgment. Schrodinger's data.
I think that's the title of the podcast. I think we just came up with that.
But the EDPS, apologies, have removed their appeal, so that now stands as a piece of guidance and law, presumably. And some quick other ones for me. The ICO has agreed a memorandum of understanding with the government over here. That's been looked at in one or two ways. One, it's great that the regulator, is now interoperating with the government on a more official level. Two, there's been some accusation of cozying up, I think, which is an interesting conversation as well.
So what would this memorandum of understanding, what would it entail? What is it for?
Yeah, it's interesting because, you've got a statutory basis anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Information Commissioner operates on a statutory basis, and all of their powers are in law. So if you actually read the Memorandum of Understanding, it says it formalizes their approach to working together effectively with a cooperative and collaboration approach. So reading through the MOU, there is statements in there about the ICO being an independent regulator, but also having a shared vision, shared principles and joint commitments about, the way they're going to deal with a data safety culture, but at the same time utilize data for the public good, get involved in design and projects, and has got some accountability provisions for the government, an annual assurance statement on how people's data is being kept safe, have an accountability board where they have a chat with each other about it, communicate with the ICO to gain a level of assurance, share any key findings with each other, and the ICO will work with the government to deliver messages about how they're conducting their operations. So there's a fair amount in there, but there's nothing statutory. It's all principle based. On that point of statutory, people will be aware that the Data Use and Access Act is supposed to be changing the ICO to the Information Commission when Part 5 is commenced. That was supposed to happen in December, and we have not seen those commencement regulations yet. The grapevine tells us that they're potentially going to put the commencement to gain the Data Use and Access Act formally into law at the end of January, or at least publish the commencement regulations at the end of January, and then they'll give us a date for when it actually goes live. So, watch this space there, I guess. And the only other news I've got from the UK is a number of penalties from the ICO office, including 225,000 for nuisance marketing messages under our PECA.
Yeah, there was definitely some pretty significant enforcement activities that came out, right?
Definitely. So, plenty of little bits of mini news that happened when we were off air. Yes, including enforcement.
Well, when you are talking about the UK Dua Lipa Act, as I continue to call it, entering into effect, we should also realize that over the next 18 months, the India Digital Personal Data Protection Act will come into force. The rules have now been published, so similar to the UK, it is a staggered implementation. Most of the rules have an 18-month implementation window. So also there, we need to start paying more attention. So look out for a new India episode as well later this spring.
And from a personal perspective, I've been getting a lot of people connect with me on LinkedIn from India recently.
Those are just sales calls. If you've known them less than 24 hours, I'm sorry, they're a legit privacy people in India that, yes, we should accept for. But yeah, if I hadn't known this person, I'm pretty sure they're going to send me a sales invite within 24 hours.
Well, then they are disconnected within 24 seconds after that.
Yeah. Funny enough, I commented on Kirk Nara's post on LinkedIn. He said, just a notice to law firms, I am still, or not law firms, I guess vendors, I am still not an intellectual property lawyer. And I put on there, I said, but could you take 30 minutes of your time to review my new product? Oh, wait, I missed the window. I've known you longer than 24 hours. I don't know if he got my joke there, but yeah. It's crazy. But also, I was going to mention Chile's law is going into effect on December 1st. So I love seeing the moving and grooving in South America. They're still not as strong on enforcement, but they're passing laws, and that's the first step, right? That's the first step. So we have that. Anything else big? I mean, there's a bill pending in the U.S. on AI that they don't expect to pass. I think it goes against the executive order. Or something. They're looking at that. I don't expect that one to go very far, but it's there.
Nothing big, but the saying history repeats itself, right?
Yes.
Well, that's something that, Staples Canada found out that history repeats itself because they were subject to an investigation by the Privacy Commissioner of Canada. And they have found that the company did not fully remove users' personal information from returned laptops that were resold. Funny thing, already in 2011, the same thing was concluded by the Privacy Commissioner of Canada in an audit of Staples Canada. So 15 years later, they still have not learned their lesson.
Y'all heard my eyes roll on that one, right?
Yeah. So the OPC put out a press release as a reminder to all businesses to fully delete personal data on electronic devices for resale. And that is any company. That's not just commercial shops like Staples, but that's also your own IT department that resells laptops to staff or to third parties. Make sure that you completely wipe the device before offering it for sale.
And you should do that before you put it to another employee too. So if you're reissuing laptops, one, you need to track the lineage of that laptop. When did you buy it? And then who was it given to or deployed to across time? Cool. And a lot of companies don't do that. But also document that you fully wiped the computer and reinstalled your corporate standard imaging on it, right? Wipe the damn thing.
Well, sometimes a simple wipe isn't enough. Working in information
well, that's true too.
Security for many years, sometimes just hitting delete or wiping just sort of de-indexes, but the data is still there on the disk or drive. Really, in InfoSec, they say the only way is to be sure is to sort of shred the hard disk or shred the hard drive. Actually, if you're going to...
And document that too.
Yeah, disposal certificates. And if you're going to give the device to a school or recycle it or something like that, they're actually saying, put your money where your mouth is and actually replace the drive. Now, that's actually a lot harder now because we've moved away from having removable drives into more solid state memory storage.
But I believe you can still magnetize them.
You can. But, when it's soldered to the motherboard, it becomes much more difficult than a drive you can remove and stick into a sort of industrial grade shredder.
Give it to me. I guarantee I can break it.
Just in general.
Break the encryption or break the device?
Break the device. I'm pretty sure. Here's my new laptop from work. Do you notice that there are 2 buttons missing?
Kay is holding up her laptop and it's missing keys, I believe, already.
It's missing keys, and apparently you can't just replace the button. I told him I still got the little flapper thing for one of them. They're like, it's not that easy anymore. I'm like, so I guarantee I can break it if they need the K protocol. I can break anything.
I do miss that. I was a big sort of hands-on person in that, I did a summer at an automotive mechanic, basically, just learning how to fix cars. I used to take apart computers and build computers when I was, younger. So I was pretty technically adept. Actually, my job in the Royal Signals was about, fixing communications kit. And so, I got pretty handy at actually sort of taking things apart, diagnosing it, fixing it. But actually, what's occurred to me those last few years is just how difficult things are to fix.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't just take it apart anymore.
Yeah, throwing things away, disposal culture. A lot of people moving to renting rather than owning as a result. And actually one of the, this is perhaps not data related, but, the EU is talking about a right to repair at the moment, which is, an interesting sort of, bit of terminology when, it becomes increasingly difficult to, unscrew something and mess with it these days, right?
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that because over the holidays, I unpacked another box of things from when I was moving house. And I found my original iPod, and I'm trying to get it back to life. So I've ordered a replacement battery and also a thingy that should be able to help open it. But it's so glued together that it's very hard to actually open the device to see how to replace the battery, which is somewhere inside. I know it works.
We will follow for more information in the future.
I know it works because a colleague was so kind to bring his ancient MacBook to the office that still has FireWire so that I could connect the iPod to it.
Why?
Because that doesn't work on a modern laptop anymore. And I'm actually trying to see if I can get the music that's on here, which is almost 10,000 songs, in your pocket, as the commercial read at the time. I think there are 9,500 songs on here. I would like to get them off. And this is like a time machine to 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So, that's work in progress. But if you talk about a right to repair, this is not a very friendly repairable
And you may
device.
have the right, but it's in a Schrodinger's box.
Schrodinger's box, yeah. I mean, Apple, to be fair, have always done the walled garden bit, haven't they? It's like, we're going to keep you safe inside our walls, but you've got to do it our way and you can't operate with anyone else.
Exactly. And a wonderful note to end on.
Now that was serious privacy. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast app and leave us a review. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Blue Sky as Serious Privacy. Feel free to drop us a question or a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're a data protection or privacy professional, you already know the pressure. Non-stop regulatory change, AI oversight, internal demands, and the expectation to somehow stay ahead of it all. And the old patchwork of tools just isn't cutting it anymore.
No. That's why TrustArc created a modern privacy management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. The TrustArc platform brings your workflows, evidence, research, tasks, and applications all together in one unified and intelligent workspace so you don't waste time digging, clicking, or context switching.
With Ask Arc, your privacy assistant, you can ask plain language questions about laws, jurisdictions, or even your own program data, and get credible, cited answers based on Nimity research and more than 1,000 global laws. It's explainable, transparent, and purpose-built for data protection and privacy.
So if you need to add a vendor, create a cookie banner, or start an assessment, quick actions take formally complex tasks, turn them into bite-sized guided workflows to save you time.
It's a platform that thinks like you, works like you, and helps you move faster with confidence, whether you're a seasoned DPO or you're just getting started.
See how modern privacy gets done. Explore Arc at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.